Hello, everyone. I don't know if there's anyone on today or right now, but we'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going solo today since Zach is called off sick. So this you got beer with bro instead of beers with bros. Um, I'm Bob Andy. As I said, subbing by myself, taking a loner since Zach is off sick today. Please like, subscribe, hit that notification. Tell your friends we need more people. So, about the show today, I am going to get into some breweries that I feel that are underrated breweries, mainly in Ohio, but I'll hit some at least one other location as well. By all means, if you jump on and you get in the live chat, go ahead and toss in some breweries that you feel that are some underrated as well. We can have a discussion here instead of me just sitting here in my basement talking all by myself. Um, Not that I don't do that anyhow, but it's nice to have other people contribute and not just myself. So, and just depending on if I have some time, we might get into. There was another person who just put out a list of what he thought were the top, geez, I think it was 25 or 30 breweries in Ohio. I can get into that list. Also, maybe tell you where I maybe give you my top 10, and then we can go from there. But this is going to be a probably a shorter uh, podcast today since it's only myself and so it'll probably be more like a 30-40 minute quick one here today, so we can get you off and watch Thursday night football and on with your night if you're tuning in tonight. So I'm gonna go ahead and get right into it. We had talked about overrated breweries. Geez, I think maybe on our second episode, maybe it was our third. I don't know. And when I talked about that, I talked about they had to be, they really had to be ones that I really thought were ones that were either well respected, maybe they were ones that had a really good reputation or really did some good stuff at one time, but maybe they kind of just haven't done as much. Maybe they're ones that they had this reputation, but as they were there, or maybe just as other breweries came up and just did just as good or better stuff, they kind of dropped back. But I think there's some breweries out there that they just, I mean, they're there. People go to them. You see or hear about them, but they really don't get the recognition, or they don't get as much love as some of the other breweries, or maybe they do. They get awards, they get some other things, but you just don't hear about them as much. Maybe they don't have a distribution, so you actually have to go to the brewery to actually get a beer instead of being able to go to Kroger or your local grocery store and pick up something. So I'm going to talk about that. And there's some down in my area that I go to relatively regular. There's some others that I just have been to at one point or another. And then there's actually a couple that I've just done a lot of research on. I looked at their awards that they've had and looked at their ratings and thought, hey, these are ones that I would like to maybe go to as well. So let's get right on into it. So and I broke this up by city. So, I'm gonna do Ohio first, and then I have at least one other that is more of a national. So, first off, I'm gonna go my home area, Cincinnati, and let's talk about Fretboard is a brewery here. It's kind of cool because actually, before we get into that, let's get uh, let's get a pour. Today I'm going to be drinking Against the Grain Haze Capacitor. Um, if we on the back, this says, "Great Scott! Imagine disrupting the space-time continuum by creating a hazy Indian Pale Ale so ahead of its time that it orbits around to end up in the past, long enough ago that it's the first ever hazy Indian Pale Ale. Well, you don't have to because we've done it for you. Whoa, this is heavy. So, if any of you are old enough to remember Back to the Future, you would get the reference. So, let's go ahead and get a pour. Smells does not look super hazy. It looks relatively clear. Got just a little bit of haze to it, but relatively clean looking, especially for something that they're saying that is um, super hazy, like so much that you're gonna go into the past. But I don't know. It doesn't. This is 7.5. I don't know what hops are in this or anything. It doesn't have that on here, but it does smell a little on the grassy side. Pretty clean. Um, got some bitterness on the back end. Um, it does have a little bit more of that earthy taste to it. So we're getting the very grassy type of earthy, piney type of hops involved there. So pretty good though. Pretty good. Not super juicy. I don't have a whole lot of fruit taste to it. It's not very fruit forward. As I said, more of almost like a West Coast IPA that has just a little bit of haze to it. So against the grain. If you're ever down in Louisville, it's kind of a cool brewery to go to. I've been there. So, all right. So anyhow, let's get into this. So Cincinnati. Let's talk about what we got here. Fretboard. You know they've been around for a while. And it's a really cool brewery because the owner likes two things. He likes beers and he likes bands. So it is a larger venue. It has a stage. It typically has a band there. So if you like live music and to get a beer, this is one of those venues that most weekend nights they have live music there. A lot of their beers are centered around um, having a name that has something to do with music. Like they have a Reba, which is their red IPA, or no, it's just a red, and but they've one of the reasons that they I put them up here is they've been getting they've been doing some stuff that's been pretty good. It's typically a little different. They've done some Belgiums, they've done some other things. They just got a bronze this year at the World Beer Cups for their beer crazy train. It's a Belgian L. They get very solid ratings. Google has them at a 4.6. Strong ratings on their Belgium. As I said, music themed type of. Um, and so creative names is that they always have. Well, it's typically something after music, which I really like. Um, Next, there is a small brewery on the west side. They grow everything that they use in their beers in their backyard. There's a garden back there. They grow hops. They grow barley. Anything that they use, they're growing on premise, and it's solid beers. They've actually won, or they were finalists for the Sam Adams Award a couple years ago, which awards breweries for being creative. And I know that they're very big on um, on being environmentally sound. So it's kind of cool that way. Beer is solid. They every once in a while they get something that's pretty darn good. Most of the times they're just solid beers that you could go there and drink on it. But it's kind of out of the way. You're not going to get this anywhere. You actually have to go there to get a beer. But as I said, it's just kind of a cool, different spot. They have a big outside with picnic benches that you can go and drink at. So it's just kind of, and you're like out in a field right off of a street. So it's kind of a cool place. One place that is really close to where I am is New Ales, and it's actually N apostrophe E apostrophe W Ales. Um, they've been around. Geez, I don't. They haven't been around super long. Um, they are owned by two women and a man. Um, one of those breweries that is woman owned. So it's something that you're not seeing a whole lot. Um, but they've won some and one of the things that I like about them, I don't know who does the naming of their beers, but a lot of times they're just hilarious. And so bravo for them with coming up for with the name. One of their staples is still not as bitter as your ex, and and that's their Imperial IPA. So it is a more bitter type of IPA, and so that's still not as bitter as your ex. And that actually won a gold medal at the Ohio Craft Cup. They got a silver medal for an Oktoberfest um, for their pumpkin. It's oh my God, Becky, look at that pumpkin. For you, Sir Mix-a-Lot fans, I think that's a reference there. It got a bronze at the Ohio Craft Cup. Um, Menace to Sobriety, specially adjunct stout. So man, that's, I think that's pretty funny as well. Got a bronze at the so if you like stout, Menace to Sobriety, and I think that's like more like one of those 10 percenters. And then they have a sour IPA, which is not big for me, but they got a something at the Ohio Cup as well. U.S. Open Beer Championships, they got a bronze medal. Uh, you wish you were this chill table beer. Um, they got actually got in 2022 they got a first place for still not as bitter as your ex Imperial, and won actually the funniest name for that as well. So they do a good job. They come up with a wide variety of beers. I got my friend got a T-shirt for them that says, "Oh shoot, what does it say?" Oh, um, beers, beers be hazy. Um, so, so they have some cool apparel as well. They're just creative type folks, and it's they there's a good pizza place that's actually attached. So it's kind of just a nice, cool place to go to as well. So, um, so let's move on to Dayton. Dayton, another close place to me, but there's three that I have there that I really feel that are kind of underrated as well. Eudora actually, it's um, Eudora's kind of different. It's been around for a long time. They just recently went into a larger building. I kind of always thought that they were sort of just middle road, but they've been kind of doing some different stuff as of late. One of the things with Eudora, it's one of those ones where you can go and they'll let you go brew your own beer there as well. So kind of cool. You can make an appointment, brew your own beer if you want to have a party or something, and give that out as gifts. And you're working with someone who actually works there, so they're not going to let you mess it up. But they got a silver medal at. the World Beer Cup just this year for Mother Fuggle. It's a brown porter, and they've actually have some other awards that they've had, but again they've been doing some more stuff as of late. Been doing some more awards. Uh, Beer Advocate has them for their porters and their IPAs. They have a very solid ratings. The high threes, low fours. Google has them at a 4.6 out of 5. Um, Really community focused, award winning dark ales. So it's a little different than most of the stuff that I drank because they're probably more on the porters and the stouts and the dark ales and just. But but as I said, they do a pretty good job. Another place that I've been a fan of, I just went in there one day. I think it was by myself, maybe, and the owner was one of the owners was actually at the bar. I'm sorry, actually, I don't think I even said it this yet. It's Heavier Than Air Brewing. Um, as I said, when I went in there one day, one of the owners was just at the bar, kind of gave me their backstory. Both of them, one was an engineer, another one was a tool maker. There's two brothers, and so they come at beer from a very engineer, process oriented, science type of thing. They think of it just kind of in different ways. Took me a tour of the whole entire place. They don't just do straight up CO2. They mix their CO2 with nitrous so that it helps to where people have bad reactions to CO2, which sometimes people will get headaches from that. It helps to not do that. And again, they're just very meticulous about what they do. They come at it from an engineering type of standpoint, which just kind of gives them that just they're going to come up with some different types of beers that way. Their mindset is different than some of the other folks that are just kind of tossing some hops in their beers. Um, they won multiple awards, including gold medals at the Ohio Craft Brew Cup, and also they won stuff at the U.S. Open Beer Championship. Notables, the U.S. Open, they won an award for their English Ale category, um, called Balloon Factory SB. I believe they actually won something at the Ohio Brew Cup for that beer as well. They also won a McCook's Bound American Stout. Won an award or won multiple gold medals for that and for their Balloon Factory at the Ohio Craft Brewers Cup. And as I said, they're just super cool guys. And there's someone that will very much talk to you for hours about their brewing process. So just kind of cool atmosphere as well. So also in Dayton, Loose End Brewing is another one that I've been kind of a fan of. Again, Eudora, Heavier in Air, and Loose End, you're not going to be able to go to the store and get their beers. You have to go to the tap room brewery to get something. So I think it's one of the reasons why people just don't know much about them. You're not going to be go somewhere. You might be able to get some stuff, something that's canned there. They might can it there, but they're not distributing it throughout. So something that you're going to have to really kind of go to the brewery. Maybe some of the restaurants like close, maybe you'll see, but it's not anything. But Loose End, they won a silver medal at the 2024 World Beer Cup for their loose handle, which is a German style Doppelbock. Um, and that was actually their first award that they won at the World Cups. But they've been in the Ohio Cup as well. Um, they've been around. And it's kind of more of a it's kind of a just kind of more fun place to go to. Um, so let's, as I said, move on from there. Um, Columbus, one of the ones that I feel, and I think that they actually get some decent press. I think people actually know Nocterra Brewing in Powell. Powell's kind of out of the way. Nocterra, it is actually you're in a neighborhood. Um, you're kind of back and you kind of you're going through a neighborhood and all of a sudden there's this brewery just kind of sitting off to the side. Parking is not great, so that would be one of the downfalls. But it is a cool place. It has an outside where it has a bunch of chairs. It has a couple of different fire pits. It has cornhole. There's it's pretty good size inside as well. So there's plenty of places. Like if it's a little colder and you don't want to go outside, you get plenty of places inside. They've won some awards, and I just really like their beer. Quite frankly, I think they do a couple different beers very well. I thought that their IPAs there that I have been just phenomenal. Um, they've won some untapped community awards. They won a bronze at the Ohio Craft Brewing Cup. Um, Zellhorrid won a bronze medal on Tap Community Awards. Um, the Dan took a bronze medal for the European Lager. But again, I think they do some stuff. And again, I don't know maybe if they're just haven't been in as much stuff. I don't think they've been around super long. Because they still kind of talk about the two people who got together. They were award-winning homebrewers before they even started the place. So it's something that they're as I said, they make very good beer, and it's just a very kind of cool place to go to. So people, if you're in Columbus, you want to make a trip on over to Powell and check out Nocterra. So um, Cleveland, the places that I think of in Cleveland are ones that I feel that most people kind of know of. Noble Beast, maybe that's one that, but I mean, I think that they distribute. I had their beer before I had actually been there, but it's kind of like a not a super um, great atmosphere. It is you almost kind of feel like you're just going right into the brewery and sitting down, like because you're kind of all in the midst of all the stuff that's just there. But they make a really excellent beer. But I really kind of feel that people know uh, Noble Beast, so I don't feel like that was one that I could call underrated. Um, so I had to kind of so I had to kind of actually do some research on this one, and this is more of a place that I want to go to as I just looked at what's going on and what they do. There's a place called Working Class Brewery. It's over on the west side of Cleveland. They do good stouts, IPAs. They do some sours as well, um, and they've been there I think since maybe around 2007. Um, they actually won some homebrewing contest, or actually maybe they started after that. Cleveland Magazine recognized the owner there, award-winning brewery. So it's someone who's actually had a good reputation and had some recognition before he actually started the place. All of the beers there have something to do with something. The names all around kind of working class stuff. Um, I looked at the pictures there. I mean, it looks like you just went into a union hall. So it I'd like to get a little bit more of the story. I went on the website. I looked at what they have there. Next time I'm in Cleveland or in that area, if I can. This is a place that I just want to check out. As I said, I did a lot of research. I looked for underrated breweries in Cleveland area, and this came up a couple different times. And as I said, I think that they've actually 2007 was when this guy started winning home brewing awards. So I don't think they've been there quite that long, but have some good stuff. So another brewery in Ohio that and I don't know if you would say that this is a underrated brewery. Uh, I kind of feel like it is. I think that, um, part of it is because it started in Athens, Ohio, and the thing about it is if you start thinking of one brewery, and when I say Athens, Ohio, you're probably thinking of one thing, and the thing about it is that's one of the reasons that I feel like it's underrated. Little Fish. So yeah, when you said Athens, Ohio, you probably weren't thinking Little Fish. You were probably thinking, oh geez, what's the, um, you're probably thinking Jackie O's, right? Um, and that's kind of the thing. It's like Little Fish was there. I think one of the things also, I think a lot of people actually, when I was talking to Zach about my list, I mentioned Little Fish, and he was like, "Oh man, I don't like sours," and that's one of the reasons I feel like it's underrated as well, because I think that Little Fish has a lot of different types of beers. I think that they're very creative. They kind of put stuff out there that is different. Um, I mean, yeah, they're more known for their saisons and their sours, but I mean, I've had some IPAs there that are excellent. So they're very big and they're kind of they're a little crunchy. They're big about sustainability. Uh, they're very big known in the region over there. They've actually started putting stuff some other places. I think they put a tap house in Columbus. They have a cool place that's up in Dayton. They took over an old railroad station, and uh, and they do some good food there as well. So Atmosphere, the one in Dayton, is super cool. But yeah, if give Little Fish a try, they do other beers other than just sours and saisons. So and they do them well. They do them well. So if you want to, just as I said, if you're in Dayton, Columbus, or if you make your way over to Athens, just check them out. As I said, they're a brewery that I feel does a lot of things well, but they're just kind of known for the sour stuff. So that's my Ohio breweries that I feel that are underrated. Um, the one as I mean I did start I thought I could possibly look at east, west, middle. Uh, I ended up just kind of running out of time and didn't have a chance to do that, and so I didn't. But one of the breweries that is distributed. I've had a lot of their stuff. I've never been to the brewery. I've actually Zach has, so unfortunately he's not on here today, so he can't talk about like what it's like to be there. But one of the breweries that I feel nationwide is 18th Street Brewery. Um, I've had multiple beers from 18th Street. I don't think that they I've ever had one that's bad from 18th Street. Um, time and time again, if there is a store that is selling at 18th Street Brewery in the area, it's going to be one of the top rated beers that you see on Untapped. And so a lot of times that's how I end up drinking them, is because I go out and find them because they were one of the top rated ones on Untapped. So I went out and found it. Um, Actually, in 2024, USA Today named them as one of the 10 best breweries in the United States, um, or one of the best brew pubs in the country, plus honor for best beer scene, best beer label, and best brewery tour. So I feel like they're in Indiana, just outside of Chicago. I think that a lot of times they get overlooked because they're just north of Three Floyds, and a lot of people think of Three Floyds. Um, I think that they are an up and comer. If you haven't heard of 18th Street Brewery, seek out their stuff. It's not super easy to find in Ohio, but they do have it here. Um, Actually, 2014, um, right after they were founded, they got one of the best new brewers in Indiana. Um, Best beer, best brewery awards, has won national accolades. Um, oh, and they have a distillery there that they won some accolades for that as well. So, um, again, I feel like if you haven't heard of 18th Street Brewery, is this is one of those ones that if you see it somewhere, go get it. You won't be disappointed. They make good stuff, as long as it's the style that you like to drink. So that is what I have for my underrated um, breweries. I don't feel like I have anyone on live today, so I'm not getting a lot of discussion. Maybe it's because Zach invites people, and they're just not on because they know it's only me. They just don't want to hear me ramble on for 30 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up for the day. I want to thank everyone who's had the opportunity to come and watch me. Um, get By all means, I'll keep an eye on the comments if you want to talk about your underrated breweries and what you like and why you like them, and if there was awards and anything that I missed. Any of the breweries that I brought up that you think, dude, you're 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 crazy. That's not an underrated brewery at all. Matter of fact, I don't like it. Fine, man, talk to me about why you didn't like it, and we can have some discussions as well around that. So yeah, like, comment, make some comments on there. I'll keep an eye out, and thanks for tuning in this week. Um, Thanks for your continued support, and thanks for everyone who is become a member and subscribed. Have a great weekend.